Hello, and welcome to Lesson 4, made by the American Institute of Techniques and Management. In this lesson, I will be largely concentrating on formulas and everything that is associated with them. This is only part 1 of the formula module, so to understand the entire formula part, please keep on watching next lessons. I will begin with introduction for the formula tab. So let's go to Excel, create a new one. Okay, so as I said before, in the ribbon you have the formula tab. Let's go to it. And in the formula tab you have 5 different sections, which is the insert function, function library, define names, formula auditing, and calculation. So we begin with the function library. Well, this indicates the function wizard, the autosum feature, and the categorized functions. What this means, we'll talk about a bit later. The define names. These features managed named areas. Next on, the formula auditing. These features have been through many Excel indications, but never before have the features been so prominent. Also, here's the watch window, which lets you keep an eye on the value in designed cells, but within one window. Okay. Calculation. This is where you manage calculation settings, such as whether calculation is automatic or manual. The formula part of Excel and the basic usage is probably the most important and most advanced one. This is why we will be concentrating on very wide topic area regarding the functions. I will be explaining each and every button in this tab as from types of function library. So let's begin with the insert function button. What does it do? What it's proposed, and what actually functions are. So what is a formula? Actually, you should know the answer by now. I showed you how to add and how to quantify any type of math in Excel. So just to remind you what actually a formula is. You remember the lesson 1 when we put in some data? So this is the probably most basic formula you can use, the math formula. Basically, you have hundreds of types of different formulas in Excel. This is the most basic one, and it just uses basic math. When you edit a formula, you can notice that the value is shown in the cell, and the actual combination of formulas is used here in the formula box. Well, the name of the formula box actually comes from the usage. How do you use this? You usually use it by combining the formula bar and the name box over here. You can see that the name box allows you to show actual functions of formulas. Rather, here you can see a few extra buttons, which are cancel, enter, and insert function. The formula box is used to enter and edit formulas. The formula box is the long entry box that starts in the middle of the bar. When you enter a formula into this box, you then can click the little checkmark button to finish the entry, like over here. The checkmark button is only visible when you are entering a formula. This is why it's gray right now. Pressing the enter key also completes your entry. Clicking the X cancels the entry. An alternative is to enter a formula directly into a cell, like I did before. The formula box displays the formula as it has been entered into the cell. When you want to see just the contents of the cell that has a formula, make that cell active and look at its content in the formula box. Cells that have formulas do not normally display the formula, but instead display the result of the formula. When you want to see the actual formula, the formula box is the place to do it. The name box on the left side, as I said before, is the place to do it. Well, it is used to select named areas in the workbook. This is addressed further in the tutorial. Let's go back a bit to the point where I explained about addresses in the cells. You remember me talking about the cell address, which for this cell is 5G. But what if we wanted a group of addresses, perhaps like this? What address would this place have actually? Well, look in the left corner in the name box. You can see the name being displayed in the name box. This tells you what is the exact name of this space that I'm marking right now. I am moving my mouse just to show you how it works. So how would it work with a function? Well, a range address looks like two cell addresses put together with a colon, which is this mark in the middle. And that's what it is. A range address starts with the address of the cell in the upper left of the range. So let's just show you. So it starts here, then has a colon, which is this mark, and then ends with the address of the cell in the lower right corner, which is over here. So basically, if you want to mark an area, it doesn't matter which one, you need the address of the upper left corner and lower right corner. So if you write an area in any type of function, what you want to do is mark it over here. Let's delete the 2 times something, yes? So let's mark an area and watch what's happening. By clicking your left mouse button on each and every cell or on an area, let's drag and drop and observe the address being shown below. You can see the address. It begins in E3 and ends in the area where my mouse is at the moment. So for this area is E3, I12. One more detail about ranges. You can give them a name. This is a great feature because you can think about a range in terms of what it is used for instead of what its address is. Also, if we did not take the extra step to assign a name, the range would be gone as soon as we clicked anywhere on the worksheet. When a range is given a name, you can repeatedly use the range by using its name. Say you have a list of clients on a worksheet. What's easier? Think of exactly which cells are occupied, or thinking that there is your list of clients. Through this tutorial, I use areas made of cells, addresses, and ranges, which have been given names. It's time to get your feet wet creating a named area. Here's what to do. There are 2 ways to do this. First way, and the probably easiest way, is simply marking the area you want. So left click, drag, drop, and then just give it a name in the name box. Let's say area 1. Oh, I have a defined name before. Okay, so let's say area 2. So from now on, this area has a name. What does this allow you? Well, every time you simply want to go back to this area, first off, you go like this, so you just go back to it. And if you want to do any math on this area, let's say equals 2 times, let's open this and say area 2. So as you see, I can simply define the area
and press enter. Of course, the value right now is regardless because we do not have the value, and actually you cannot use this math formula because it's simply wrong. But this is what I wanted to show you, that you can call upon the area by simply dragging and dropping the name in the area, name manager. Okay, so the other way to do this is going back to the define names in the formulas tab in the ribbon. So let's mark an area, push the define name, and as you can see, you have many more options in here. Excel guesses that you want to name the area with the value it finds in the top cell of the range. That may or may not be what you want. Change the name if you need to. In example, I changed the area to, per se, names of pupils. Yeah, so let's write that. And it will be in this workbook, or it could be defined only in this sheet. This allows you actually to work with the same names in separate sheets, so you can use the same name for a few different sheets. But since we are only using sheet 1, let's leave it at workbook. We can give it a comment. Names we need for this tutorial. And refers to the area I marked, and press OK. Oh yes, of course. You cannot use the name because of the distance we put in the space button in here. It should be fine now. Yeah. So as you can see, we have three names right now for 3 different areas. So what I want you to do right now is practice the naming of a selected area. Select area from A1 to I12 and give it a name, any name you want. Let's say lesson 4, and this is your first task for this tutorial. So what I want you to do now is go back to lesson 3, open it, and copy one of the tables. For example, this one. Please note that even though we're copying this here, it will still be possible to copy it into a different file, as if it was in the same one. Let's delete all the rest. Okay. So we have some data, we have a table right now. So let's go through some features we have in here regarding the functions. But for now, I just want to tell you that you're doing a great job right now. You're on a short track just to becoming an Excel pro, so don't worry, you're doing a great job if you could keep up until this point. Hey, let's continue. So now that you have a named area, you can easily select your data at any time. Just go to the name box and select it from the list. Tables, as I told you before, work in much the same manner as named areas. Tables have a few features that are unavailable to simple named areas. With tables, you can indicate that the top row contains header labels. Further, tables default to have filtering ability. Excel has so many functions that it's both a blessing and a curse. You can do many things with Excel functions. Well, if you remember them all. Even if you remember many function names, memorizing them all, the arguments, the functions, can make it a challenge. But don't worry, Microsoft hasn't left you in the dark with figuring out which arguments to use. Excel has a great utility to help insert functions and their arguments into your worksheet. This makes it a snap to find and use the functions you need. You can save both time and headaches and make fewer errors to boot. So let's go on. How to get familiar with inserting functions and the dialog box. The insert function dialog box is designed to simplify the task of using functions in your worksheet. The dialog box not only helps you locate the proper function for the task at hand, but it also provides information about the arguments that the function takes. In the insert function dialog box, you don't have to type functions directly into the worksheet cells. Instead, the dialog box gives you through a point-and-click procedure. Well, it's really useful because if you're anything like a typical person, you will need help to know them all. In the insert function dialog box, you can browse functions by category or scroll the complete alphabetical list. So, insert function, and you can see the selection of functions. The variety is really large. These are only the most basic ones, but you can select the category. By doing so, you see different functions in here. You can use either financial, date, statistical, or any other. You can search the function by asking Excel what you actually need. If, per se, you want to do a sum, you just write down you need a sum. Then, well, this one was listed in the beginning, but because this was one of the most basic. But you can see that the sum is not the only way to sum any type of data. So, you can also click the Help on this function link at the bottom of the dialog box to view more detailed information about the function. So, if, for example, you want to find a concrete function and you do not really know what it says or what it means. So let me choose just this one and Help on this function button. And you see Microsoft Excel showing you the help button, help option of this one, and you have a complete description of it. So the basic description which you saw over here is also listed, but the entire description, which shows also examples of how to use it and more advanced usage of the concrete function. The exact description is really wide, so be careful by actually choosing the concrete function. There are actually three ways to access the insert function. First off is the insert function button, which I showed you before. Second off, on the formula box, click the smaller insert function button, which looks like this. So basically you have the insert function always visual for yourself at any time. Also, you can click the smaller arrow to the right to use auto sum feature on the formulas ribbon and select more functions. AutoSum has a list of commonly used functions that you can insert with a click. If you select more functions, the insert function dialog box opens. Let's go over the category of the functions. First off, most recently used. The last several functions you used, then all. The entire function list stored alphabetically. Financial functions or managing loans, analyzing investments, and so forth. Date and time. Functions for calculating days of week, elapsed time, and so forth. Math and trick. A considerable number of mathematical functions. I won't go on all of these because, well, I will show you examples of each of these selections further on. So don't worry, you will have the basic knowledge of most of them. Okay, so how do we actually select the functions with no arguments? For starters, some functions return a value or a period. No arguments are needed for these ones. This means you don't have to have any arguments ready to go. What could be easier? Here's how to enter a function that does not take any arguments. The today function is used in this example. So let's find it. Let's type in today. Go. Oh, sorry. And let's press go. So this is how you find it. Let's double click on it and press OK. And what you see right now is the function arguments you need to input. But as I said, we don't have to do this right now, so let's just push OK. Yes, what happened here? You may have noticed that the function arguments dialog box says the formula result will equal volatile. This is nothing to be alarmed about. This just means the answer can be different each time you use the function. For example, today will return a different date when used tomorrow. Let's now select a function that actually uses any arguments. Okay, so most functions take arguments to provide the information. The functions need to perform its calculation. Some functions use a single argument, others use many. Taking arguments and using arguments are interchangeable terms. Most functions take arguments, but the number of arguments depends on the actual function. Some take a single argument and some can take up to 255, which is the maximum number of arguments you can take into action. The following example shows how to use the insert function dialog box to enter a function that does use arguments. The example uses the product function. Here's how to enter the function and its arguments. First, position the cursor in the cell where you want the result to appear. Second, click the insert function button on the ribbon. Just to show you. Okay. Doing this appears the function dialog box. Select Math and Trick. In the OR selection, a category drop-down list. Scroll through the selection until you find the product function. Let's put in OK. And what it shows is actually the insert function dialog box closes and the function arguments dialog box opens. This shows what the screen looks like. The dialog box tells you that this function can take up to 255 numbers, as you can see over here. Yet there appears to be room for only 2. As you enter arguments, the dialog box provides a scroll bar to manage multiple arguments. If the function arguments dialog box, enter a number in the number 1 box. So let's say 20. You are entering actual arguments. As you enter numbers in the dialog box, a scroll bar appears, letting you add arguments. Enter as many as you like, up to 255. I will show you by entering, for example, 8 arguments, one after another. The number really doesn't matter. Let's just have a proper amount of data. Okay. Also, look at the button left on the dialog box. As you enter functions, the formula result is instantly calculated. Wouldn't it be nice to be that smart? Click OK to execute. And as you can see, the result is shown in the box, and the function is shown in the formula bar. At any given time, you can change the values that you use in the formula bar. Just click on any function you want and change it. It's that simple.